How to make summer sausage at home. Now for those that have never made summer sausage, it isn't as hard as it looks. You just have to plan to put in some time. I always plan that for the whole day I'm gonna be making sausage. So grab some meat in your grinder, Dennis. We're gonna amplify some backyard barbecue fun. Today I'm doing the garlic summer sausage from PS Seasoning. And this kit will do 25 pounds of summer sausage. But I'm doing a half a batch today, so I'm gonna need 12.5 pounds of meat. So we're gonna start off with 7.5 pounds of chuck roast. And I've got this nice little scale here, and once I reach that 7.5 pounds, I know I got enough of my beef for this summer sausage. So you just start cubing it up, get it cut so it fits in your grinder, and while I'm doing this, I just watch my scale. I have about 9.5 pounds of chuck, so the remainder of it, we'll grind it up into fresh burger. Chuck roast works really good for making any type of sausage because you have a decent amount of fat in it already, but we're also going to be adding some pork butt. At 6.5 pounds, we got to start paying attention to our scale. And I think we'll just take and cut this in half and see where we're at. And there we go. 7.5. Now for the remainder of our meat, we're adding some pork butt. I just end up getting the boneless, seems a little easier. And I always make sure that I'm getting this fat cap in that sausage mix. Now all I need is 5 pounds, so we're not gonna be using all this pork butt. Now this meat, it's super cold. It's almost where it was starting to freeze. Now we're trying to get about an 80-20 ratio. I'm not that fussy about it, but I've had good luck in the past with that 7.5 chuck roast and 5 pounds of pork butt. Gotta take just a sliver off. There we are, 12.5 pounds. Now when I'm doing the whole process in one day, I always like to add my seasonings before I start grinding. We'll just sprinkle it over the top of it, and then we'll just start mixing her up. If you got a pair of cotton liners, put them on, because this meat is cold. Take it from the bottom and move it up to the top. And as I start getting them coated well, then I just put them in my hopper. You can see at the bottom of this bag, there's really nothing for seasonings left in here, but I try to shake a little bit of it out of there. Now we just start loading up our hopper, get it ground up. I am doing a coarse grind right now. Now this is a dual grinder, but I still put it through twice. I think it just helps to get this meat a little bit more emulsified, and you have a little bit better like protein extraction going on. And the fat is distributed through that sausage mixture a lot better. We're gonna use a 4.5 millimeter on this last grind. Screw it back on. Then we'll just start loading up the hopper again. And I can smell the garlic seasoning, and man, this is making me hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. Fire up the grinder and let's get this second pass done. Now I never really ever force any meat through my grinder. I kind of just let it do its work all by itself. This grind is looking perfect now. Never run your grinder unless you got meat in it. You're just gonna end up dulling up those blades quicker. Scrape out the hopper real good, get everything in that hole. There we are, that's it. Let it spin a couple times and then just clean out that housing a little. Now I'm gonna put this back in the fridge, and as long as I got this grinder set up, I'm gonna grind up the rest of that chuck for a burger at lunch. Now inside our box, we also have our casings, and we're just gonna put them in some nice warm water, get them submerged. I always like to get them separated, and then I just let them sit until I'm ready to start stuffing. Now I'm gonna get my mixer hooked up, and obviously they're both LEMs, so this is made for each other. But you just kind of get it lined and move your blades a little bit, and it'll slide right in. Now today I want to get this summer sausage right in the smoker, so I'm using some encapsulated citric acid to speed up the process. You don't have to use it, but it adds that little bit of tang that you're used to tasting in summer sausage that you buy at the grocery store. This also acts as an accelerator to that cure that we're gonna be putting in this sausage mix. If you don't have any encapsulated citric acid, you just have to stuff them and put them back in the fridge overnight. I've done it both ways, and both ways are fine. This little pack does 25 pounds. I have to cut it in half. We'll use our scale to figure that out. So that's easy enough. Just turn on our scale. I already have it set to ounces. Put on our little cup, press tare to zero it out, and start pouring it in. Ooh, close. Oh, of course. Always has to go over. Take out a pinch. There we are, 1.5 ounces. This is gonna be the last thing that we add to our meat. So we're just gonna set that off to the side. because you don't want these capsules to start to break while you're mixing up your meat. Now we're just gonna start loading it in there, push towards the bottom. I am really happy with this grind though. I think everybody gets the gist of it. We'll put her up, and that's a meatball. That was for my good friend Fabio. He's half Italian and Polish. What a combination. It's kind of like sausage. Now I'm also using a binder today, and it's a non-fat dry milk that you can get at any sausage making company. You do 1 cup per 5 pounds. So today, I'm doing 12.5 pounds. I need 2.5 cups. I don't have my glasses on, so we'll get close. And there we are. That's pretty close to 2.5 cups. Go ahead and pour that right in over the top of it, and this is going to help us retain moisture. And inside the box from PS Seasoning, we have our cure. Add that in, and we're gonna put some water on top of it. We're gonna go in with about 1.5 cups. Stir it up real good, get this to dissolve. And we go ahead and pour this over the top too. We'll turn on our grinder and start mixing it up. And hopefully I got a good angle here and you can see what it's doing. We're gonna mix this for about 7.5 minutes, and then we're gonna add our encapsulated citric acid right at the end. I'm at 7.5 minutes. Let's get in the encapsulated citric acid. We're just gonna slowly sprinkle it over the top, back and forth. Now we're just gonna spin this for another 30 seconds. 1029, 1030. Oh yeah, I can just tell already. This looks really nice and tacky just by the way it looks in the mixer. Oh yeah, that's tacky. Get some of it loosened up first. Comes the blade, get him out of here, get our hopper all the way down. And I'll just scoop her right out of there. All right, we're gonna call this good. Get some of this off my gloves. Back in here. I'm gonna put this back in the fridge, and while I'm setting up my stuffer, I'm gonna preheat my smokehouse to 120 degrees. Now this is a 20-pound stuffer, and I have 12.5 pounds, so we're gonna fill up this canister once, and then we're done. I just flop it in there, get a big glob, just like to pack it in tight. Get our last big glob in here, get it nice and packed in here. I'm just gonna put some hog rings on this. This style's a little bigger than what I would want to use, but I'm doing this by myself, and these will at least keep them closed. Get our canister in place and lock them in. I take a little bit of fat and wipe it right across that little O-ring. Grab one of our casings. Now I'm gonna turn the speed up to about 3/4. There we are. Get that little piece down in the bottom. Just get this up in here, and we're gonna get the stuffing. All right, here we go. I like to put a little bit of pressure on the horn, and I've got plenty of casings, so we're gonna leave them a little shorter, a couple inches at the end. That gives you a little bit more slack when you're tightening them up. Just get it up inside the casing, squeeze her. There we go. Not everybody has a stuffer like this, and I didn't for the longest time, but I am thrilled to have it. It takes so much work to stuff, especially snack sticks. So having this piece of equipment has made my life a lot easier. I'll put a link in the description below for this too. Boing. Reminds me of when I was a teenager in bed. So that is the end of what we've got in the canister. It's gonna run back up, but I'll just take off this horn, and that'll pull that through the bottom of that canister. Get this glob that came from the bottom there in, and I use this little cleaner and just shove her through. And if you got any globs you can take off here. Haste makes waste. We got the majority of it in there. And I'll take a hog ring and get her tightened up. For the most part, these are looking pretty good. Now it's time to get our smokehouse set up, and I'll bring it back when it's time to start hanging these summer sausages. I've got my PK100 preheated to 120 degrees. Now I've got these nice hanging rods, and these rods, you just put them right in this nice rack, and then I take and tie an extra little knot in this loop, and then I hook it in and hang it right in the pit. Get this first row in. Now I use my signals to measure the internal temperature on this sausage. Plug her in and drop her straight down the stack. Slide back my rail a little bit, and I just take one of the sausages and I'm gonna go straight right down through the center, all the way as deep as I can get it. These hooks come in handy if you gotta rotate them in your pit a little bit. This way you can get a little bit more even cooking if needed. Because every pit has a little bit of a hotter side and a cooler side. I've noticed that everything on the right side of this pit is always a couple degrees cooler. So it's nice to be able to rotate them, and with those hooks, it makes it real simple. And on this one, we're just gonna check on this side. Now we'll close it up, and I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes, and we're gonna let this summer sausage dry out a bit before we add some smoke. My 30-minute timer went off, and now it's time to add the smoke. I'm using a 3/4 pan of hickory sawdust, but you can't just put this in the pit without adding any water. So just pour a little bit in the center, pour maybe a cup or so in the center, and then just sit and mix it up. But if you don't add the water, this sawdust is gonna burn up immediately. We want it to smolder. We want a nice rolling smoke to be added to that summer sausage. Then when I get it all mixed up, I make a nice little pocket in the center. That way, it's gonna burn here and smolder on its way out. And then we just put this sawdust pan right on this little burner, and we're also gonna add just a little bit of water to the bottom of this drip pan. Yes, in some ways we want that moisture inside the sausage to come out, but we don't want it to come out too quick because we don't want the outside of that casing to get hard. So I always add just a little bit of moisture during the smoking process. Now you can see our temperatures on our sticks are pretty close, but we're also gonna turn the little PK100 up to 150 degrees. And when we turn it up like this, that's what's gonna make the smoke start to roll. And if you're new to my studio, this is Moby, and that's Donger. And because I'm inside my studio, I gotta have a vent or I'll get smoked out and we won't be able to film. I'm gonna set a timer for 2 hours and I'll check and see how this summer sausage is looking. My 2-hour timer went off. Let's go ahead and check out this summer sausage. Check out our sawdust pan, and we still got a little bit left in here. We'll run it for a while, but I'm very happy with the way these are looking. That color is sweet. I'm gonna turn the PK up to 170 degrees. Now I'm gonna set a timer for 2 hours and then we'll come back and check them out again. During that 2-hour span, that gives me a perfect time to take Ernie out for a walk. He can let off a few more landmines in our front yard. What do you think, Ernie? Summer sausage starting to look pretty good? That a boy. It's been 2 hours, it's time to pull out that sawdust pan. Get it opened up and wow, that is looking fantastic. But oh yeah, we're burnt out now. That is a nice, pretty mahogany for sure. In 4.5 hours, we have an internal temperature of 126 degrees on our summer sausage. Now we're gonna turn the PK100 up to 180 degrees. And once we've reached an internal temperature of 150 degrees, that encapsulated citrus acid is gonna start to activate. That's gonna give us that old-fashioned fermented type of flavor on our summer sausage. But I'm gonna run these up to about 152 to 155 degrees. So the next time you see me, this summer sausage, it's gonna take an ice bath. This summer sausage has an internal temperature of 153 degrees. The total cook time was 6.5 hours. It's time for them to take the polar plunge. Very, very happy with this color. Remove this probe, take the hook off, and we'll just set it right in this ice bath. This is gonna be yummy. Get these last two in here, and we just want them to stay underneath the water the best that we can. I just put one of my wire racks on top of them, and that'll keep them submerged. Now I'm gonna leave them in this ice bath for 15 to 20 minutes. Then I'm gonna towel them off dry and hang them back in the PK100. We're gonna let them bloom for a while at room temperature. We're stopping the cooking process by throwing them in the ice bath. But when you let them hang in the pit, some of that moisture will escape outside of that casing. We want to bring that moisture level down. I'm not looking for any type of shelf-stable cook here. I just want something that can last for at least a month in the refrigerator. Then after that 2-hour rest, we're putting them back in the refrigerator on some wire racks for 24 hours. So the next time you see me, I'll be at the cutting board. These sticks have been blooming in the refrigerator for 24 hours. They smell incredible, and I am super excited to try them out. The casings look incredible. There's no wrinkles or shrinkage. So obviously my stuffer packed these sticks full. It certainly didn't hurt by using some binder in them also. I just can't wait any longer. It's time to cut up a few slices. I am going to slice it right in the middle. Wow, I'm very happy with that grind. Certainly has a good consistency. I'd say that looks pretty dang good. Gotta make it a thick one, right? See how the casing comes off? Oh yeah. Perfect. Here we go. I cannot believe that I actually made this. I can taste that hickory smoke and it's got a perfect texture. And by adding that encapsulated citric acid, this has the perfect summer sausage tang. So if you follow this same recipe, I think you're gonna have good luck too. Wow, I'm serious, I just can't believe that I made this. Watch out, Hillshire. Just saying. I'll put some links in the description below so you can also make your very own summer sausage at home. And you don't have to have all the fancy equipment that I do. When my dad and I did it, we were old school, but we still had the same results. And I told you all that we'd have a big announcement about Ernie. This guy right here is the new Dead Broke Barbecue Nation mascot. Make sure you welcome him aboard. Well, that's all we got. Roll the nation. I gotta take a drink. My throat's a little scratchy. No, I already got done with COVID, so I'm fine. I beat the Wu flu. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.